the diagnosis of substance use disorders, or as the new chapter is called, substance-related disorders and addictive disorders. We'll go over in some specifics about that, but we'll also talk now about some general things about DSM-5. This says, my turn, okay, I spy with my little eye something pinkish. Well, we want to be a bit more specific about something pinkish. We want to look at what specifically are the criteria that define who has a problem with addiction or mental health or physical health. So firstly, let's talk about why I even had diagnostic criteria, because I was hearing from one of the important people involved with the DSM revision, and they were saying this is an opportunity to help teach trainees, to teach clinicians about diagnosis in general, that with DSM-5, it's not just a matter of saying, well, now here's the new criteria for substance use disorders, here's the new criteria for, major depression or whatever. It's really trying to get people to remember what the context of diagnosis is. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. We need diagnostic criteria as a way to classify mental disorders, and that's been present throughout all of the history of medicine, not just mental disorders, but all disorders. But there's often been little agreement about what should be included, and many different models of naming systems, nomenclatures, based sometimes on the etiology of the disorder, based on what it looks like, based on what its course of illness is. Some systems have had just a few diagnoses, others have had thousands of diagnoses, and it often depends on why you are categorizing it. Are you doing it for clinical reasons or for research reasons or public health and statistical methods to identify what the prevalence or incidence of the disorder is? The reason for the diagnostic categories influences how you define them and also influences how many you have. But diagnosis can give us a common language for communication between clinicians. If you're doing research and you say, I have a 90% success rate with the treatment of depression, but you don't have the same diagnostic criteria for depression, and somebody defines depression as somebody who's crying once a week, and somebody else describes depression as somebody who's suicidal every day, I'm just polarized